Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Something I'm really proud of that I've built within myself is unshakable confidence. It's something that I've had for quite some time, and I think it stems from a lot of inner work, some mindset shifts, and even just being capable of transforming, evolving, and elevating yourself throughout the years. Today, I'm going to discuss the 5 mindset shifts that will fully transform you from insecure to confident. You will feel like a person who is able to walk in any room, talk to any person, and truly be able to represent yourself in a way that you're proud of. I feel like this is something that we should know how to do, and it should be taught so much more. A lot of people are walking around in this world scared, intimidated, and not at their best potential. And I want to kind of help you guys feel more confident in your essence and your feminine energy. So we are going to discuss today what I think is crucial from being someone who is operating at their worst to operating at your best. Okay, let's talk about today's sponsor, which is Hungryroot, which I've actually been snacking on all of the things that they've sent me this week. I've been just obsessed with the little Gouda cheese that they gave me. It's just so good. But let's talk about it just in case you guys have never heard of it before. So essentially, Hungryroot is a nutritionist and a personal shopper all in one. Hungryroot takes care of your weekly meal planning and grocery shopping by also recommending you different ingredients and things that you should get for your home based off of your lifestyle and even your health goals. Now, it's important for me that when I'm trying to get back on track to eat anti-inflammatory foods, so they will recommend things like that, or stuff that's high protein, or even just dairy-free and balanced things. It could be anything that is tailored to what you want, your own restrictions, and what you're trying to achieve, and goals that you're trying to reach. And I really love how personalized it is. It's going to really tailor it to what you like, what you don't like, and what it thinks that you need. And the best part for a girl like me is that most of the recipes take 15 minutes or less. So you're not in the kitchen all night, that you're cooking up a meal that you just do not want to cook. It's going to be simple, easy, effective, and delicious. Plus, all of their ingredients are free of any type of preservatives, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial sweeteners. So I will leave my QR code on the screen for you guys to get 40% off your first Hungryroot box, plus 1 free item of your choice for life. Let me know what you guys think, and thank you so much, Hungryroot, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into the rest of today's topic. Okay, the first way to go from insecure to unshakable confidence is to own your differences. When you think of your favorite celebrities, influencers, and people that are in the social media space, you'll notice that the people who are celebrated or deeply desired have something very distinct about them. Now, of course, we always kind of go into the idea that the person who is like the girl next door or has a similar vibe to multiple other people are always the person who is the most celebrated. But we have so much proof that people who are different, who are unique, and who are special tend to also get the same recognition. I think of people like Kim Kardashian, where she was the only one at the time that kind of looked like that in media. And it was widely celebrated and it was just very alluring. So that being said, I want you guys to be bold, be audacious, and self-assured. This is so crucial in your journey to becoming confident. When you own who you are, your uniqueness, and your authenticity, it is very sexy, and it's even at times kind of intimidating. A lot of people love to put themselves in a box, and they just don't go to their max potential because they struggle to own their flaws. They struggle to shine in rooms where they are the outlier. Never shrink yourself to appeal to anyone. It's not even appealing. Shrinking yourself does not create the impact that you think it does. A lot of people do it to hopefully gain some sort of respect, to connect with others, and to possibly be accepted in certain spaces. But in reality, places where you are accepted when you shrink yourself are places you don't want to be in. Own your uniqueness, own your differences, tweak the other things, and become more polished. But overall, just embrace who you are. Okay, the second mindset trick that will completely transform you from insecure to confident, and this is something that actually impacts your relationships, is to own the rejection and respect it. Stop viewing rejection as the worst thing that's ever happened to you. It is not a reflection of your value. It's the universe's way of telling you this energy, this person, this aura, this moment is not meant for you. So what you should be doing is thanking that. Never force anything. Everything you have to force in life will always be something that will pull away from you. You want to align with your perfect thing, whether that's a career, a love, a friendship, and even an opportunity. You don't want to be someone who is viewing rejection as the end-all be-all of your self-security. You need to be someone who desires love that is naturally attracted to you, that doesn't need to force attraction, doesn't need to force alignment, and just wants to be there. It's something that once you learn the importance of being secure in yourself and understanding your value, you no longer fall for the okie doke. You're no longer the person who is attracted to nonchalant, avoidant behavior, and you're never going to chase. You're always going to just stand in your power, be authentic, and let things flow. If something flows in the direction of it not working out, okay. If it flows in the direction of it working out, amazing. But let things flow and let things be. Do not ever view rejection as a way to self-criticize and invalidate everything that you are. You never want to be a person who accepts someone who doesn't accept you. Why would that be something that is empowering? Why would that be something that would nurture your confident nature? And when you do reflect later on, you actually realize that all the things that have not worked out and all of the things that rejected you or all the people that didn't want you, you realize you don't want them either. This saves you years of heartbreak, and it also saves you a lot of time that you waste. We waste so much time in limerence with people who don't choose us, who don't want to be with us, or we are stuck on a past dynamic that maybe should have just been left in the evening. Sometimes we can enjoy a moment without making it something. Make it what it is. Whatever something is, accept it. Align with what naturally clicks with you, and all the other stuff let go. This mindset trick will create such an unshakable confidence in how you handle rejection, relationships, and how you truly move in your essence as a woman. Okay, number 3 is to go from seeking to standing in your power. I want you guys to really change the verbiage in your head and how you move through life, okay? When you are someone who is constantly searching and seeking things, it does not allow you to be comfortable in your essence because you're constantly trying to find something that should be looking for you. When you are in alignment, you don't have to search, you just receive. You receive it, you align with it, and it just becomes very clear. Stop performing, stop people-pleasing, stop molding, stop pandering. Do not be the person who does any of these things on a religious basis in your life. When you stand in your authentic essence and you don't have an agenda for doing something or being something, and you just allow yourself to be who you are, it is so sexy and it is so alluring. It's very attractive. People who don't know themselves and choose not to work on themselves tend to always search for things that they lack in other people. But if you become someone who gives all of these things to yourself and becomes everything that you look for, you no longer look for it, you just align with it. It is a transformative experience to stand in your power and essence and let things flow. I don't have these deep emotional feelings about shoulda, woulda, couldas anymore. I just am very present and I allow myself to move authentically through life. When you think a certain way, it actually does attract people that are thinking similarly to you. So if you're performing and you're people pleasing and you're masking, you more than likely are going to attract people who are doing the same thing. But the more that you stand in your authentic essence and you're just being someone who, listen, you own your flaws, you know your strengths, you know what you like, you know what your boundaries are, and that is just something that you're very sure of, you can actually spot fakeness, phoniness, and masking so much easier. So what's so great about dropping your own mask and no longer pleasing others is realizing that you can spot it easier in your connections. When you're standing in your power, you flow better. You're a better conversationalist. You're a better listener. And you're also really good with silence. Number 4 for going from insecure to confident, all in your mind, is to lean into your traits and boldly use them. I remember I had a question recently on my Instagram and somebody had said that they're really shy and they hate that about themselves and they feel like it stunts them in life. But I think what actually stunts you is the lack of reframing it. Rather than calling yourself shy, which can kind of allude to the fact that it's a negative term, why don't you reframe it to being someone who is reserved, a good listener, somebody who's patient, somebody who's very observant, and even an intentional speaker? When you reframe your negative traits and qualities to work in your favor, that is how you become more confident. People try their entire lives to change all of the things that they don't like about themselves. And what it actually does is it draws you further away from your actual nature. It draws you further away from your authentic self, and then you're performing and you're not really happy with who you are. When you reframe things and you tweak things and you improve your abilities and your skills, it actually allows you to build confidence in a way that is strong and long lasting. Use your gifts and your weaknesses to your advantage in life. One of the things that I was always made fun of for growing up, or that people viewed as a weakness, was me talking a lot. I got in trouble for it at school. I even got in trouble at home for it. And I would either get in trouble for oversharing, talking too much, talking too quickly, all those things, right? I took that weakness and I improved it. I improved my speaking abilities. If I love to speak, why don't I just improve my articulation? Why don't I improve how my message is relayed? And then using it in a way that I can transmute into a better, more powerful version of myself. So I speak for a living. I literally get on camera and I make my money by speaking. So I turned something that was a weakness, where I was too talkative, too chatty, and I transmuted that into being someone who uses my abilities to speak as my gift. Don't shrink yourself to avoid attention. At the end of the day, people know, even if you are being coy or you are being reserved with your gifts, they already know that they're in there, and their entire mission is to prevent you from seeing them. So it's your job and duty to just flow. It will attract naysayers, haters, and even people who want to create distance, because things that shine scare people with bad eyesight. But at the end of the day, when you really put things together for yourself, you realize that the only person that hurts when you remove all of these things from your life is yourself. Rather than changing who you are, lean into it, improve your skills, and be someone who is proud of it. Okay, now the fifth thing, this is so crucial. If you want to go from insecure to confident, you need to stop being passive, okay? What passive is not showing up for yourself, is not speaking boldly, is not being someone who can represent yourself in a way that feels empowered and feels self-assuring. Speak your mind, do things passionately. Women with a purpose take initiative. So be someone who takes initiative with your life. It's your life. You should be passionate about it. You should be bold with it. And you should not be passively walking through your own life. What builds confidence is taking action in things like your career, your wellness, your health, your opportunities, your friendships, your connections. All of these things are going to build confidence when you take action. And the only place that I would definitely recommend to be more gentle and be in a more receiving energy is in relationships if you are a woman. And that's only because I feel like women thrive in their essence when they are receiving and when they are allowing somebody to earn them rather than chasing that. You never want to be in a chasing spirit. You just want to be someone who accepts it. We have the right to accept or refuse things. So that's on you, but let somebody earn that right. So that's really the only time that I would recommend to be a little bit less forward. Let's just say that, okay? But all that aside, stop being indirect with your communication, okay? You need to be a direct person. Speak matter-of-factly. Do not wait until years later to speak up about an issue that you had from, 5 years ago. Be someone who in a moment is able to conduct yourself well, emotionally regulate, but still be assertive and direct. So yeah, a few traits of a passive person would be being someone who is indirect with your communication, or denying that you need to feel good. So denying your own needs is a great way to be passive. Like, you don't want to do that. And also just prioritizing others. You should be prioritizing yourself. You should be very upfront and direct and intentional about what your needs are. And when you are communicating, rather than being someone who says things under your breath or waits until you get into the car to cry and speak how you feel, be someone who improves your ability to stick up for yourself and to represent who you are and advocate for yourself. So that is something that I think is really important in improving your confidence, because yes, insecure people tend to be very coy and indirect and very passive and it turns into actually very negative traits down the line, because then you become passive aggressive and you abandon yourself and you disrespect yourself, and you even could blow up and have an emotional episode due to bottling up all of these feelings and emotions all these years. So rather than doing that, just take the action to be a little bit more assertive. So stop keeping the peace with people who only bring you chaos, okay? It's not your responsibility. And I really love this example of assertiveness is changing you statements to I statements. So for instance, let's just say somebody wants to have a argument with you, but maybe you're not ready to discuss it at this moment. Rather than pointing the finger saying you, say, listen, I need a little bit of time to gather my thoughts. Let's discuss this in about an hour. It's direct, it's communicative, and it's also setting a boundary. You can also say something like, I want to be treated with respect and kindness. You're always making sure that you are setting the intention for what you expect, not necessarily pointing the fingers at a person and playing the blame shame game. When I actually take a beat from maybe a conflict and I reflect and I think about it and then I go back to it and resolve it, I find that it can resolve a lot quicker. Rather than being in the heat of the moment or allowing somebody to take advantage of me or control the narrative or even just gaslight me. When you start to work on your emotional regulation, your communication skills, and your assertiveness, you start to really build a layer of unshakable confidence. There is something so beautiful about having that type of autonomy, independence, self-assuredness, and poise. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. These types of topics really just light a fire within me because it's something that we all possibly at one point in our life really struggled with, and we didn't know how to find our voice or walk in our power, or we were shrinking ourselves around people who just could not understand us and could not digest all that we are. But now we are realizing that that is not our responsibility and it's not for us to care about. I love you guys so much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone. Mwah.